All right, well, thank you all for being here today and coming to this auditorium. We certainly feel that the companies on offer in here, and Legacy Minerals in particular, have a real opportunity for shareholders. Like Eastern Metals, we've got a market cap around 10 million. We've got a significant portfolio of fantastic gold, copper, battery metals projects in the Lachlan Fold Belt. So some very exciting times for us. And for those that are watching on the ASX as well, we've just inked a $4.5 million exploration artificial intelligence alliance with Earth AI to spend money on our ground, which will deliver value for our shareholders. So I'll look forward to run through that. The disclaimer is up there to read, otherwise this presentation is being made available on the ASX. So why invest in Legacy Minerals? I talked about, just briefly, that artificial intelligence exploration alliance. So what Legacy have done is ink an agreement with Earth AI to spend $4.5 million across our Mulholland and Fontenoy tenements. So they're our battery minerals focused tenements. Some very exciting prospects there. Earth AI, artificial intelligence, is at the real cutting edge of exploration in the space. They're Silicon Valley funded. So there's some big money that's coming in from Australia and overseas to really see these green projects, these critical battery metal projects, succeed. We've got some game-changing discovery opportunities across the portfolio. I'll talk about Bullera. It's one of New South Wales' largest epithermal systems, so it's a significant project from a scale perspective, and fantastic that we've got it in a company, that we've got control of it. Hardin, we've been drilling that project since we listed it at our IPO. We've got some fantastic high-grade hits from that, and we're expecting assays to come back from both those projects imminently. Rockley, I'll talk about as well, our porphyry target. So again, what a lot of explorers are chasing in the Lachlan Fold Belt, these Boda type, Cadia Ridgeway porphyry type discovery targets. We're very much value leveraged to our exploration success. We've got 100% ownership of those 6 projects. We've got strong news flow expected over the coming months, and a real competitive market cap that provides platform for our IPO investors and any future investors that jump on the registry. So room for growth there. We've got a fantastic position in the Lachlan Fold Belt. A lot of our targets are high grade, shallow. They present at surface, and you'll start to see some of the intersections and the grades that we're talking about, fall within, the first 150 metres of depth. So we're talking very shallow, and that lends itself to long-term development opportunities for some of these prospects. Corporate snapshot, I won't linger on this. We listed in September, so we've got, we're well funded for the exploration that we've done. We've done about 5,000 metres of drilling to date across Bullera and Hardin. The top 20 own 60% of the company, so very tightly held there. And we've got a real breadth of management and board experience. David Carlin, Douglas Menzies, Matt Wall, myself and Tom Wall. So a mix of your sort of older grey hairs and some fresh young faces keen to make a success of this company. So this $4.5 million alliance that we've signed, people might ask what's artificial intelligence and machine learning got to do with exploration? And it really comes down to a demand and supply issue. The big funds overseas, the venture capitalists here, you would have seen just the interest in battery metals to sustain your Tesla, your decarbonisation. They see the falling, that traditional exploration models that have failed. They've failed to meet the market demand. Discovery rates haven't met up with supply. Hence why we're seeing these skyrocketing prices of these critical and battery metals. So they're trying to disrupt, and we're on board with 2 of our projects to really test out their theory. We're focused up at Fontenoy and Mulholland across the copper, nickel, tin, testing the PGE potential of those tenements as well. It's unlike a classic JV, so it's quite different. This is really at the tip of the spear, very much leading edge here, that the $4.5 million that Earth AI can spend on our tenements, they only earn a royalty upon a successful drill intersection. So it's very much success driven. Legacy retain 100% ownership, and there's some good buyback options for Legacy as well if we choose not to develop those projects. So if we don't want to take one of the projects forward, Earth AI have the option to purchase it off us for $1 million US and a 2% royalty that comes back to the company. Just briefly, who are they? They're using those machine learnings to target, test and define discoveries. They've got their own drill rigs. They're based out in central New South Wales. And they get a lot of their Silicon Valley funding. So they're San Francisco based now after starting up in Australia. And they're backed by some of Australia's biggest venture capital funds, as well as some of the big Silicon Valley funds as well. So it's going to be a very exciting partnership over the next 2 years to see where they take us on those two projects. These are the projects here. Fontenoy, Mulholland. So Fontenoy is based down near Young, so it's about 15 kilometres away from Earth AI's drilling facilities, where they've reverse engineered a drilling configuration, new drill rigs down there. It's a large system, 8 kilometres of strike, heavily mineralised, and it's got some great historical drill intercepts as well. So a really good area to really test out that theory. We know there's PGs down there that haven't been tested. There's some historic chromite mines, there's nickel potential, so it really fits great within that mandate for those battery critical metals. Mulholland, we're up there with Sky Metals at Dorradilla. Dorradilla is a fantastic deposit that they're working on up there, and it's really an emerging district, so we see lots of repetitions in the structures. There's been good historic nickel and tin intercepts up there. So again, a fantastic opportunity for an artificial intelligence company to crunch big data and generate some high conviction drill targets to test. Cobar, I'll introduce Cobar as a first project. And the reason why I'll introduce it is because it really underpins the value that we see in the company. You look at the prime position that we've got in the Cobar Basin, and you look at the market cap of Legacy Minerals at circa 13 mil, and you look at the market cap of some of our peers. When we talk about untested targets out there, a Cobar type discovery for a company of our size, is a significant game changer. So we're doing ground geochem work out there, and we've got some ground magnetics as well. So we're looking forward to release some of those results. But we've already defined up numerous targets through the geophysical co-funded work with the government as well. So it's a very exciting package. You can see just the magnetics and the structural complexity. Fantastic district, lots of interest, and there's a lot of mines that are found here as well. I'll go through Ballura in some length. Very exciting project. It's one of New South Wales' largest epithermal systems, so it certainly is a key asset in our portfolio. Sorry. Here we go. So why epithermals? It's essentially world-class potential. There's a few key big epithermals in New South Wales that they'll briefly mention. There's Cow, owned by Evolution Mining, 15 million ounce. You've got Bowden Silver, one of the world's largest undeveloped silver deposits, 275 million ounces. Mineral Hill, recently purchased by Kingston Resources, and Ballura. So we're up there in terms of the size of the district, the mineralisation that we're seeing here. It's important to note that Cow gold zone, defined by a 7.5 by 2 kilometre area of gold anomalism in greater than 0.1 grams per tonne gold. Why is that important for what we're looking down at Ballura? Is that we're shoring up this system 4 k's by 2 kilometres of greater than 0.5 grams per tonne gold in rock chips. There's bonanza historical grades. We've got a significant zone of alteration there. So there's a very large, boiling. There's a lot of activity that's driving this widespread mineralisation. So it's very target rich, significant vein systems, and a lot of it's untested. So that's where the opportunity lies for Legacy and our shareholders. When you talk about a project that's only had 37 drill holes across 27 square kilometres, you're talking one drill hole every 72 hectares. So completely untested and wide open. Where we've been drilling, down at Mount Felsted, it just is one small part of that quite enormous system, and the results that we're getting are giving us extreme encouragement to the potential of this project. When you're talking 9 metres at 9%, lead plus zinc, 2 grams gold and 28 grams per tonne silver from 140 metres, including a high-grade zone, 2 metres at 29% lead plus zinc, 5.4 grams gold and 94 grams silver. You're talking, economic grades here, particularly given, from 140 metres. So this shallow ore body, it presents itself at surface, mineralised from surface. It's open to the north and south. The important takeaway, though, is that this is the tip of the iceberg that we see here. When you talk about the footprint that this system has, this is only 600 metre strike in an 8 square kilometre mineralised zone. So very, very exciting. Keep an eye out for the drill assays that are coming out for this shortly as well. Onto Harden. So Harden is a high-grade gold mine, in one of New South Wales' least explored gold districts. New South Wales, it's been chased by a lot of people looking for porphyries, predominantly, and sort of these high-grade, systems haven't been well explored or even well understood in the New South Wales context. And we saw a great opportunity to drill out this old gold mine that produced some significant historical grades. So we're the first company that's ever drilled it. And you can start to see the high-grade drill intercepts that we're starting to add to this emerging gold story. 5 metres at 7 grams gold from 110 metres. We've got 3.6 at 21 from 116, 3 at 10, 6 at 3, all shallow. And again, we're seeing widths there, we're seeing grades that give us a lot of confidence for potential resource definition and a lot of confidence for future development of those projects. When we talk about the significance of this district, 460,000 ounces of gold from alluvial and hard rock production, of which the two biggest mines that fall under Legacy's control produce 75,000 ounces at 28 grams. So the old timers mining this pre-World War I, without electricity, they left significant grade behind. So they mined it at a cut-off grade at 15 grams per tonne. Some of the intersections you can see from that long section there are through stope ground. So that's grade that's been left behind in the wall rock, the hanging rock, as they took out the high-grade zone. So we know that there's zones there near surface that grade, economic grades at current gold prices, and then as we get into the unmined sections as well, that's where this really has the potential to blow out. So again, we've got assays coming back for this shortly. We've been diamond drilling down there to help us understand the geology, but when you talk 1.4 kilometres, it's a big orogenic shear hosted system, so a very exciting prospect. Rockley, I'll run through. So Rockley is our porphyry project, and it's in a prime position in what has been a relatively underlooked area of the of the Lachlan Fold Belt, which is the Rockley Goolgong volcanics. It's an emerging porphyry district, being made famous by bushrangers, Success Extract Resources. So they're drilling out a 71 million tonne at 0.44% copper porphyry. And Extract are expecting that to, has good potential to reach 1 billion tonnes. So you're talking world-class porphyry. It's high grade. There's a high-grade mineralised cap there. It's preserved close to surface, which is fantastic. When you talk about, porphyry's close to surface for a junior like us means that it's relatively shallow drilling. So they're intersecting their porphyry from 11 metres. And that 920 metres at 0.3% intercept that they've got, that's from 110 metres. So it's unheard of to be sort of seeing, that type of, porphyry drilling so close to surface. Why are we here as well is we recognise, the porphyry potential. But again, it's another artificial intelligence company and the New South Wales government that assessed that area to be the most prospective for porphyry copper mineralisation in the entire Rockley Goolgong volcanics. And certainly what we're seeing there is all the right ingredients for that porphyry mineralisation. Overlooked, untested again, it just hasn't been drilled. Not a single drill hole there. Historically, 22 RAB holes were done, not one tested below 15 metres. So if there's a shallow porphyry to be there, it's ours to be found. And the mineralisation we're seeing there, 4 kilometres by 2 kilometres of 0.5% copper, grading up to 5%, in some of the rock chips we've got, is a significant copper mineralisation. The planned exploration program. We've been pretty busy since the IPO. As I said, we've drilled 5,000 metres across Hardin and Ballura, and we've got another 10,000 metres of drilling with our planned use of our IPO funds. So we've certainly got plenty of opportunities to add value there. We're very keen to see where the relationship with Earth AI takes us across Fontenoy and Mulholland. So that'll, they've got the drill rigs, they're keen to drill. They'll work through the data sets, that we've got. They'll do the groundwork and then they'll define the drill targets and go out and test them with their rigs that they've got. So very excited to see where that partnership takes us. We're planning follow-up drill campaigns at Ballura. Ballura, we're looking at some of the other, classic low sulphidation areas outside the Mount Felsted mine, which is more of an intermediate sulphidation with some of the base metals that we're seeing there. So we're going to be testing, the Mimar veins and those type of areas where we're getting rock chips up to 39 grams gold, 260 grams silver. Very excited with that, and Cobar, we've got that in the pipeline with the work that we're doing out there, and that's some of the targets we're going to generate. I'll just sort of wrap up why I think Legacy Minerals is a fantastic investment opportunity. We're competitively priced compared to our IPO. $4.5 million, AI alliance, possibly the first of its type in New South Wales for one of these artificial intelligence companies to earn in on a project by success. We've got game-changing discovery opportunities, particularly, keep an eye out for Ballura, one of New South Wales' largest epithermal systems there. We're focused on delivering shareholder values. It's a tight exploration team, a tight management structure. We've got a significant depth, 600% owned projects in New South Wales, and we've got the right metals exposure, gold, copper, the lead, zinc, base metals, critical and the battery metals. So we're in booth 100, pretty much right next door to Wayne and Eastern Metals, so feel free to come see some of the rocks and chat with the team.